9 months ago, I walked away from my 9 to 5 job, and it's not because I had everything figured out. It was just that something clicked for me. Something changed. If you've ever felt stuck at your job, but you feel like you're meant for more and maybe fear is just holding you back, this video is for you. And today I'm going to share the mindset shift that gave me the courage to bet on myself and just go all in, and how that led to me building a business that I like and that's more aligned and that gives me more freedom. So let me take y'all back to when I was working my 9 to 5, and I guess kind of when I had just my breaking point and I was fed up, because that's part of me quitting my job. I had enough. So I was working security. I had that job for probably 9.5 years, going on 10 years. I don't know exactly, but it was for a long time. And it was a pretty good job. You know, it got a lot better towards the end because we switched to a different company and we got more benefits, better pay. It was just overall better. But the thing with the job I had is I put up with a lot. And I'm not trying to bash that job. I don't want to come across like I'm bashing the job, but there wasn't structure. That was the main thing that I had a problem with. Like, it was kind of just like people were doing whatever they wanted to do. And I never liked that. Like, I was in the military. Like, I joined the military straight out of high school. And if you were in the military, you know there is structure. So seeing that, it was a no for me. I couldn't deal with it. So besides the no structure, there was favoritism. It was not really room for advancement. There was for certain positions, but once again, there was favoritism. And the last thing, man, honestly, just the energy. I don't know if y'all can relate. Let me know in the comments if you can relate, but just the energy of the workplace was so negative. It was so negative. It was so bad. And I just couldn't stand being around people like that. Like, people walked around mad at the world, looking at you crazy for no reason. It's just like everybody was just in a bad mood. And I get it. You know, a lot of people work in jobs, they don't want to work, but I don't even think that's an excuse. Like, I wasn't 100% satisfied with my job, but I can honestly say I always showed up and I tried to be in the best mood that I could be in. And when I interacted with people, I always was professional and tried to be positive. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really let my job affect my energy like that, but it got to a point to where it did start to, you know, weigh me down some, and it started to get to me at certain points. Now, fast forward to like the last couple years, mainly that last year I was at my job, man, y'all, I had a lot of I was just thinking about a lot of things, but I had a lot of realizations, right? So the main realization that I had is that my job was actually holding me back. Like, I started to really pay attention to things, and I'm like, you know what? Because I was doing side hustles while I was working my 9 to 5. I've always, when I was really trying to improve my life and just make more money, I started side hustling. I even started, me and my wife started a photography business. And even when we were doing that, I'm like, the job is actually hurting me, you know, with the things that I had going on outside of my job. Like, because I was limited on time, there were certain days that I couldn't get off, and I was missing out on whether it be a photo shoot or some other thing that I had to do. You know what I'm saying? And also just from the perspective of being like just drained and tired all the time from my job. And I always pushed through it. I was still side hustling. Like I said, at a certain time, me and my wife had a photography business, and that was all we did on our off days and in our free time. But it was hard, man, because my job was I put in so many hours. It got to a point where my job hours had changed. So the job schedule was way more demanding. I was working way longer hours. There was even a period where I had to work, I think it was like a week or 10 days straight. It was something like that. So during that time period, I couldn't really even focus on my side hustles just because I didn't have the time. And then I started thinking about and imagining what would my side hustles look like if I went all in on them. Right? I started to have those thoughts because I realized how my job was limiting me from a energy perspective, from a time perspective. And I was already doing really good with my side hustles, making a good amount of income, you know, putting in a limited amount of time. So I said to myself, like, if I worked that whole 40 hours and put that on these side hustles, I was like, man, I would make so much more money, because right now I'm just kind of doing what I can. I'm just kind of dabbling in it because, you know, I'm limited on time. And that right there really helped with that thought I had of money, because for anyone who's working a 9 to 5, they're trying to quit, you know, start a business or go full time with their business. I'm pretty sure we all have those thoughts of money, especially if you have just family and a bunch of responsibilities. It looks a little different if you're single. So that thought right there helped me get over some of the fear when it came to having enough money, because I knew if I did the side hustles full time, I would be making more than enough money that I needed to do that full time without a 9 to 5, because I was already making more with these side hustles than I was with my 9 to 5 job when I was side hustling. And something else I noticed when I was just kind of deep in thought about quitting my job was I kept putting it off. Like I was waiting for, I guess, the perfect time, and there is no perfect time, right? So there was a time period where I knew I could do it. I knew I was making enough money. I knew that I was making the money consistently, but during that time period, I still kept waiting. I just kept just pushing it off. I kind of kept making excuses in my head as to why I couldn't do it when a part of me knew I could do it. And all that was, guys, was fear. Like me pushing it back, me waiting for a specific time or waiting for a certain amount of money to have saved. It was all just a mask that was fear. And I just said to myself, you know, I gotta let go of fear. I'm tired of living in fear. I don't know if some of you feel like that, but it's been like certain points of my life, or I don't know, maybe a big part of my life, that I just lived in fear, just scared to do stuff. And that got me nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I was just over like playing small, you know, and just playing it safe. Like so many people go through life just kind of playing it safe. But it's like, how can you, I don't even think you can truly get the things that you want in life and that true peace and happiness and freedom by playing it safe. After all these, you know, realizations I've had, these kind of shifts in the way that I thought about things and the way that I thought about my 9 to 5, I just started going all in. I made a plan, and I said to myself, my mind is made up. I'm going to quit my job. This was something that I said to myself. I even think I wrote it down. It was like a little planner I had. And I was kind of just writing down my goals, and I wrote it down. And something else I did is I told my wife, I told my mom, like, because I wanted to put it out there it helps me be more serious about certain things when I actually tell someone, right? Because I don't want to tell someone that's, you know, close to me, my mom, my wife, and then I don't go through with it. You know, so it kind of gave me that push with that decision. At that point, my mind was made up, and I'm the type of person, once I make up my mind and I say no more excuses, no more fear, I go all in. And I've done that with other things, but this thing was more of a hurdle for me to kind of get over certain things. I guess because we're so used to working a 9 to 5. I mean, I've been working a 9 to 5 since I've been out of high school. So when you've done something for that long, I think it's even harder to kind of break that cycle. Before I even quit, I was operating my side hustles like I was doing it full time. So that was a shift as well. Like I didn't wait until I quit my job to start operating full time in my business. Yes, it was hard. Yes, I was tired, but I knew that to be successful with this, I have to move like I want to be successful. I can't just be saying, oh, I want to quit my job, having all these thoughts and realizations, but the actions don't align with that. You know what I'm saying? That's the story, guys. I know that was a long story, but you know, now I'm going on almost 10 months. I think about 10 months of, you know, working for myself, being my own boss. And it's one of the biggest accomplishments in my life up till this point, because it was so hard to get here. Of course, it's been a struggle, but really getting out of the mindset, the 9 to 5 mindset, getting out of the normacy of just doing what we're told to do, right? Just doing what everyone else is doing, right? I chose to take a path that is different because I want to be different, you know, and this isn't for everyone. And there's nothing wrong with people that work a 9 to 5. I worked a 9 to 5 up until I quit my job. But some people want more. Some people don't want to do the normal things, right? Some people want more freedom, right? Some people just don't like being told what to do. I don't really have a problem with that. Like I said, I was in the military, so, you know, it is what it is. But I did want more. And I knew deep down for a good part of my life, I've always wanted more. Like even with ALK, our photography business that we no longer do, that was me wanting more out of life and trying to build something, not just me, but me and my wife build something together that can provide our lifestyle and give us that freedom. And working for myself hasn't been easy. I don't want to make it seem like it's easy, but it's definitely been worth it. And it's just opened up my eyes to a lot of different things and just a new way of living, right? Because, you know, I'm so used to working a 9-to-5 and clocking in and doing things. Now my life is completely different. I do things on my terms. I have more freedom. So it's it's still an adjustment period for me, honestly. I have to get ready for my son's game, so I'm running short on time. But my final advice for y'all, man, is to just bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. But I do want to ask y'all this question before I leave. Think about where in your life are you playing small because of fear? Like, think about that and identify that thing. Like, don't ignore it. Like, write it down, you know, because I think the first step is knowing, like, where you're playing small and where that fear really resides in your life. But anyways, if you took away anything from this video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out the video description. I'll have some videos down below about making money online, you know, me quitting my 9-to-5 that you might be interested in. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.